Welcome to Arc Tutorials. One of the most important questions that comes to mind before having an online presence, a blog or a website or starting a business is how much does it really cost to get web hosting? This is the one of the single most question that comes to mind, and often this question hampers the growth. It's important to know upfront what is your cost of web hosting. It gives you an idea because that way you can plan your finances and your budget. That's why in this tutorial I am bringing you how much does it really cost to get web hosting. Now when it comes to web hosting, let's say you're trying to launch a website. Understanding the cost associated with web hosting is extremely crucial, important and essential. Web hosting cost can vary depending on various factors. Okay, that also includes which hosting provider you're choosing, what type of hosting you're choosing, what are the kind of resources that you would be required, etc. In this particular episode, I am going to talk about various pricing structures of how you should consider based on different requirements. But at the end of this tutorial, you would be familiar with different types of hosting, which is best for you, and also I'll give you tips if you are a beginner. Let's deep dive. Alright, so before we learn about the pricing of the web hosting, you have to understand there are different types of hosting that is available for you to purchase. The most common one that beginners, or I would say amateurs, would start with launching their business is to go with the shared hosting. You also have VPS hosting, we have dedicated hosting, we have cloud hosting, and we have dedicated WordPress hosting, which is specially meant for folks who want to get a blog on WordPress and get started. Let me talk about the shared hosting first. Shared hosting is an affordable option where multiple websites share resources on a single server. That doesn't mean that it's not secure, it's not private, etc. Only thing is, in a server there are multiple websites that are running, and most, I would say, the beginner plans, right, would go with this option. If you are someone who is just starting out and considering to get a web hosting, I would say start with your shared hosting plans. There are various web hosting providers like Bluehost, which starts at 295 per month, HostGator, which starts at 375 per month. You have SiteGround, which starts at 299, DreamHost, which starts at 259, and A2 Hosting, the shared hosting plans start at 299. So these are some of the most reasonable, affordable plans that you have. You can go with a 12 month, 24 month, or 36-month plan and get that support. Now, this is the best option, like I said, if you're starting your own website or a WordPress blog or just an online presence. The next option is a virtual private server hosting, which is also called VPS hosting. Now this is nothing but it has all the dedicated resources with a virtual environment. Okay, now these are mostly I would say specialized when you're working in an enterprise setup or or a agency kind of a setup, right? So there are different various providers who does that, but again the pricing here would be little higher than the shared hosting since there are dedicated virtual environments. Some of the hosting providers are Hostinger, right? InMotion Hosting, Liquid Web, A2 Hosting, and SiteGround. Now, if you look at the pricing structure, the prices would be little high compared to shared hosting, obviously, since you have dedicated resources assigned to this. Again, if you are an agency or a small business working with multiple clients, consider going for VPS hosting. Then you have dedicated hosting. Now this is for a enterprise who has a large business online, has a lot of dedicated like a SaaS business, etc. Here you have an entire physical server for maximum control and performance. It is not shared, the entire you own the entire server and you host your website, your applications there, and you do the business. Here again the prices would be higher than what you would see for a shared or a VPS. So if you are a small scale business, or a SaaS company or some web application which is into dedicated customer data, has privacy, need more control on your data and your server, consider going with the dedicated hosting. There are other vendors, Bluehost, HostGator, InMotion Hosting, Liquid Web, SiteGround. All these website providers provide dedicated hosting. The plans usually range somewhere starting from 80 to can go up to $300 per month. That's the price band. The next is cloud hosting. Now, cloud utilizes a network of servers to distribute resources for enhanced performance, scalability, and reliability. When you go for cloud hosting, the data is copied into multiple regions and multiple servers, so that way you always have the availability of your application. If you are an enterprise, obviously these are not for uh, small scale businesses, I would say, since that there is a lot of cost associated with it in terms of the number of services being consumed. In cloud, there are a lot of services like, say, gateways, API gateway, payment gateway, SMS gateway, queuing, messaging, a lot of other things. So storage, databases, there is a lot of services that are offered on cloud. Now, some of the leading providers for cloud hosting are AWS, Google Cloud Platform, Microsoft Azure. You have DigitalOcean. These are all custom, right? And the pricing here really depends on the usage and the services selected. So, so get a dedicated account manager who can work with you and your team, understand the needs, requirements, and the kind of resources that would be required on the cloud premise. The last is the managed WordPress hosting. A lot of folks who wants to jumpstart their journey with WordPress, right? And but this is again purely not for an individual person, but an agency which works on multiple microsites and multiple websites in a month. You need to have a larger support for WordPress and a dedicated support for WordPress requirements. That's where the managed web WordPress hosting comes into picture. A lot of leading vendors like Bluehost, SiteGround, WP Engine, DreamHost, HostGator, all of them provide a dedicated managed WordPress hosting solutions. Easy to use. The performance is increased. They have a lot of built-in support for the plugins and the most commonly used features like, say, spams, AdSense, analytics, and much, much more. So these are all the different types of web hostings that are available. But like I said, if you are a beginner considering to go online, or a small business who wants to have a blog, you want to have a side business, I would always encourage everyone to start with the shared hosting. That's the most minimal thing that is required for you. It's cheap, it's affordable, you can test your waters, you can start small, build your audience. As you grow further, you can update your hosting plan as needed. So that's all the entire thing that you should know about web hosting, especially if you are a beginner. That's all. I hope this clears all the doubts about what is the web hosting, what are your options of getting into an online presence. I'll also cover this series of going digital and digital marketing. I'll also cover 10 reasons why you should consider blogging, how it can enhance your brand, add value, and even make money. Stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for joining in this tutorial. We'll continue learning, we'll continue going digital. Thank you.